Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I've been doing that a lot.
I
I appreciate the begrudging
was going to
tone.
ignore it just because.
General Kenobi. Hello there.
Hello.
Oh, it's a Vatred's back.
Yeah,
Baseball went that bad,
my
huh?
phone like 5 minutes before I got off because my game's in a weather delay.
Until like another day?
No, well, I don't know yet, so I'm not going to start like my stream up.
Oh, okay.
But it could very well be. I need to get my camera to focus, motherfucker.
Just hold just hold your hand up to it.
I have, and
Turning
it doesn't seem
my
to
fan on. It's hot as tits in here. Ugh.
focus up there.
Let me read a few chat messages.
There we go.
Let me read a few chat messages while we're waiting for Stark here. Never mind. Looked it up. They were talking about Obi-Wan Plo. Oh, so Delta Squad wasn't in Clone Wars. Okay. Got it. It was nice to see the Mandalorian give helmets more importance. Yes. Helmets always need more stuff. Well, okay, Vatred, I guess since you just got back, what without giving any spoilers away, because you're the only one of us who's actually seen the Bad Batch episode, what is your impression of the Bad Batch? Like, just character design, I mean, not really story.
I like the character designs. If you're into 08 Clone Wars and like the new season that came out that finished it, you'll like Bad Batch. It's basically same exact stylization, like right down to the letter. Honestly, the intro of it felt like watching TCW, but once you actually get into the episode, it gets into a much more eerie feeling because you're seeing things from the perspective of the Bad Batch right when shit starts to go down in terms of the formation of the Empire.
Order 66, not a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain things and maybe one certain character that I feel like is going to trigger a lot of like the reactionary Star Wars fans.
Oh, that's perfect timing for me to come back. Let's go.
After the end of the episode.
No,
So I haven't really checked the pulse too much on that end of the Star Wars community after watching it.
No women in my Star Wars, unless they actively like their plight to the Holocaust.
True.
I personally do have a problem with how many women there was on screen in the latest films. Like, some of the scenes were like 60-40. It wasn't right. I mean, maybe that's just me.
Context.
I don't know.
I don't care.
I have
really
no problem with there being women. No, I've no problem. But it just, when you can physically just sort of tell that it's uneven like that, it didn't seem right.
Well,
especially not in battle scenarios.
I mean, the thing is with that though is that, like, I mean, it's a long time ago, but it's a futuristic setting. It doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't.
I mean, I guess
it's a very specific thing to fixate on. I think, like, there's plenty of things to hate about the sequels. The fact that it was like there's a lot of women in it is not one. I mean,
yeah,
I like watching.
Really a main critique for me.
I like seeing women.
Yeah,
I really do.
I mean,
Most of the
it just
female
it didn't feel right.
The female characters are kind of written poorly. Like,
no, I'm the one. Yeah, that's the
There's
thing.
that as well.
When it's a poorly
There was
written
a lot of-
character,
lot
it's
of
very
poorly
blaringly
written.
standing out. Yeah.
Ray
Yeah.
and Laura Dern's character.
All of them,
Holdo. Yeah, Holdo.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Holdo.
Admiral
Right.
Holdo. Yeah.
It was, the Holdo maneuver is probably my least favorite scene in the entire sequel trilogy.
It looked awesome, but it's just so completely lore breaking. It's just like, why don't they?
It breaks lore just to look nice, just
Why-
to have a big
why-
Hollywood AAA CGI event and look cool.
Just, like, why don't they have droid starfighters that do that?
So I
Like-
guess I'm a little confused on that. I mean, in terms of the lore breaking, how exactly is like ship ramming lore breaking? I guess I've missed the connection there.
Well, it's not necessarily that it's completely lore breaking. Well, it's lore breaking on two different levels. So basically,
I mean, they did
if it is
lore-
possible, I mean, the first thing, if it's possible, they didn't. No, they didn't. They did a ram
and Rogue One is an example of why it doesn't work.
Rogue One was not a hyperspace
But it depends
ram.
on what you mean by doesn't work. I mean, what? That's
Well, hang
the
on.
last ditch maneuver, right? It's not meant to work for you or them or anyone.
Rogue One wasn't a hyperspace
Let
ram.
Hulk go, and then I'll go.
Rogue One was just a Hammerhead class cruiser ramming a Star Destroyer
No,
at sublight,
yes.
not at hyperspace. The reason
There
hyperspace
is an
ramming,
example, though.
the reason hyperspace ramming doesn't work is because hyperspace is literally another dimension. It's not like you're traveling. It's not like you're traveling like multiple times the speed of light in your own dimension. Hyperspace is an entirely different dimension that you're traveling through. So
What did that was what some
Okay, I feel like I've watched a lore video on that specific aspect of hyperspace.
yeah, Eckhart's Ladder has a video about it.
Together.
Yeah, Eckhart's Ladder has a video about it. But like,
That's probably who I watch, honestly.
There's multiple mentions of how hyperspace actually works in like novels and stuff, and it's not like you're traveling super fast. You can't collide with things in real space and hyperspace, but things in real space generate mass shadows. You know, like the mass shadow generator in hyperspace, because hyperspace is like kind of a weird like amalgamation. But the thing is, if you hit something's mass shadow in hyperspace, you're not hitting it in real life. You're not hitting it in real space. Which is why if something jumps to hyperspace in front of an enemy fleet, it's just gonna disappear, right? It's just gonna go, you know, unless it hits the enemy fleet when it's still like warming up its engines at sublight to enter hyperspace.
Right.
Is what happened in Rogue One, and they're escaping from the shield world, where they had the plans stored and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
The fleet retreats, and then Vader's Star Destroyer comes in, and as they're jumping out, and it just crashes into them and explodes and dissipates. And
Oh, you're talking about that
damage.
scene. I thought you were talking about the Hammerhead scene.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Hammerhead scene.
was
Yeah, the
actually
Hammerhead scene. I
The
get.
Hammerhead scene makes perfect
Right.
sense.
Okay.
No, like
That's why I was like,
They
what? That's
jump
not
to
the scene.
hyperspace. Haven't hit hyperspace. They splash across Vader's windshield like a fucking bug. It does no damage to the ship because it has shields on the same plane of existence.
And it hasn't
There's a
taken
million reasons.
it hasn't
They
taken
haven't
any
hit
damage yet.
hyperspace yet.
And
Even
yeah,
then, going really fucking fast. Hit that ship physically in hyperspace yet, and it just splashes across the shields.
and that's the thing. Shields are meant
The
to
fucking Star Destroyer takes no damage.
the shields on those kinds of ships are meant to deflect mass shadows and things like that. And in theory, I guess it could work on a real life thing. Something does come to mind.
yeah.
In Return of the Jedi, the A-wing that crashes into the Executor's bridge.
Oh yeah.
But to be fair, Executor had been in battle for like a long ass time before that, so their shields just could have been down. Yeah. Whereas like Vader's ship
Especially
coming
with the
out of
shield
hyperspace
generator
would have
on
had the
Endor
shields up.
being destroyed, like.
Yeah, I don't know. We're at this point we're just grasping at straws to try and explain shit. But like,
Nitpicking.
moral of the story, like, does it make sense now? Why it just hyperspace ramming just doesn't make any sense?
I just never really considered how hyperspace worked. I had known about it, but it didn't come to the forefront.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I mean,
we would have seen this shit before. Like, one rebel pilot would have been like,
it's
oh,
basically-
no,
It's basically
I'm
like,
about to crash. I'm gonna go to hyperspace, crash into the Death Star.
yeah, it's basically like you're going through like wormholes to places.
Right.
Like it's got like it's not a wormhole in that it's just a one-to-one connection, right?
As I understand it in other sci-fis, basically to be able to calculate that sort of jump, you would need such insanely precise timing that it would have to be within 2/10 millionths of a second that you have to press the button twice.
That's why Star Wars ships have a whole like fucking computer room with a navicomputer that does those calculations, or an astromech droid that does it. Yeah. That's why fun fact, that's why X-Wings and Y-Wings need astromech droids, because they can't make the hyperspace calculations by themselves.
Right, because most of like the Imperial TIE fighters and shit weren't hyperspace capable.
No. Those are short-range craft. Yeah. They even say it
Maybe
in
had a couple of like prototype models that had it, but they were never like mass produced.
they even say it in New Hope. He's like Han's like, that's a short-range craft. It's not from far away. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck were we talking about before we started talking about hyperspace rams?
Well, I was talking about Bad Batch, and I said one
Right.
thing might trigger the reactionary side of the base, and then...
Oh, we started talking about women. Started talking about women in Star Wars.
Then it got to The Last Jedi, and then hyperspace ram.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how you tell when it's, like, lore nerds versus just, like, dumb reactionaries, I guess.
Exactly.
Because, like, the lore nerds are like, wow, the hyperspace ram, and
At least with that
the reactionaries are like...
the logic to a conclusion that makes sense.
And the reactionaries are like, Admiral Gender Studies, and, like, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because really the reactionaries will just criticize it because Poe gets, like, reprimanded multiple times in the film.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. He was kind of, like...
He was being a douche.
He was being a douche.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest.
But, okay, so, Bad Batch. What do you think about the character designs? Like, not talking about the show itself, but, like, just the Bad Batch characters.
The Bad Batch characters? I mean, ultimately, the Bad Batch characters, when you see them in the last season of the Clone Wars, you don't naturally know too much about them. They're basically a bunch of, like, variety of cliches.
Kitty.
But the Bad Batch will start to expand on that because since they are like an experimental clone unit, Order 66 all kind of hits them differently.
I want to actually know like their story instead of Clint Eastwood, Mark Ruffalo, and Sylvester Stallone are
right.
clones. Like, want to know
and
the
they
story.
get into that a little bit. And I feel like, you know, as the season goes on, they're really going to flesh that out. Now, I'm not going to get overly critical on the first episode. I don't know how many it's slated for, but they still have plenty of time to flesh all of that out, and they seem to be committed to doing so.
If they were doing it like The Mandalorian, where they're releasing an episode every week, or if they were just, here's the whole story, fucking binge
I believe
watch it.
It's going to be every week.
Okay.
Now, the first one was about like 70 minutes, but like I said, I will probably do a watch party with that, you know, the perfect Disney Plus way with their watch party system.
Right. Notes.
Oh, they have a watch party system?
I'm pretty sure they do. Them and HBO Max and all of them have it.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
I have all of those things.
Oh, cool. But yeah, I'll probably do another watch through that at some point because, like I said, I was about half asleep, but I want to like take a look at it again from not just being excited for this coming out, but actually take like a more critical look at the first episode. But overall, I was pleased with it. More pleased than at least I expected I was going to be going in. I just thought it was going to be something I halfway pay attention to for an hour, and I'm like, okay. But no, it helped me at a couple points.
Like, I think they actually did a really good job with Clone Wars Season 7, where they're introduced.
Oh, yeah. Clone Wars Season 7 was
I
fantastic.
do think it's crazy that, you know, didn't see these characters once this entire time. Like, it's clearly brand new characters kind of getting shoehorned in at the end. You can
very
just
first
kind of see they're like,
of
okay, we're
Bad
going to make
Batch
him a new character.
Kind of gives me those vibes because they have an interaction with a character we see in other Star Wars shows and comic books and like the new canon and stuff that I've read that covers that same exact point in time. And it gives you the thought, well, okay, how in this small moment is this guy encountering the fucking Bad Batch? So that was the first thing that kind of like took me out of it, but they moved away from that pretty quickly afterwards, and it was mainly like more of a plot device.
Because Tarkin was in the trailer, right?
Yep, I'm not talking about Tarkin. This was somebody not in the trailer.
I was gonna say because if they're in the trailer,
Tarkin
then
would make sense because he's
fine.
in several episodes of the Clone Wars.
And this was also a character that at least isn't from any of like any theatrical Star Wars release under Disney, but did come out under a Disney property.
Yeah, well, Fennec was in the trailer too. If that's who you're talking about.
Who?
Fennec, that's her name, right? The chick from the
no,
Mandalorian.
Not Fennec.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't her either. Okay.
No.
Interesting.
Well then.
I wasn't a big fan of
Seems like we just really, really need to watch this.
Did anyone... The female droid in Solo. Not just because it was female, but I felt like it overshadowed the scene where all the other droids were like wrecking stuff. And I just couldn't enjoy the scene because of that.
I only watched Solo once, but I did think it was kind of silly, like
I have
the rest of the universe.
I saw Solo
trying to reconcile her existence.
I saw Solo like 3 times, and I barely remember anything about it. I remember hating the end because fucking Maul's being shoehorned into everything at that time.
Ultimately, I think my final thoughts on Solo were like, okay, so why the hell is like Han Solo's whole legacy built over like one crazy weekend?
It's like The Hangover in Star Wars. I remember something was really funny. Like when we, because I used to, so back at my old work, we used to have like a movie going group, and we'd go see all the MCU movies and all the DCU movies and stuff like that. Good ones and the bad ones. You know, we'd make fun of the bad ones and praise the good ones. But I remember seeing the trailer. We were all sitting in the movie theater, and we watched the trailer for Solo, and like it really seemed to really want you to care about the fact that, oh no, Chewie might fall out of this moving train car. God, I hope Chewie survives this prequel to the original trilogy. It's like,
right.
I just remember fucking like laughing so hard about it because it's like, man, they really want you to care about a character that's literally confirmed to have survived for another couple decades, probably.
And I believe with the Solo trailer, it was like a lot of the Rogue One trailers and featured scenes that weren't in the final cut of the movie because they also made directorial changes like right in either the beginning or middle of development.
Oh yeah, didn't Solo like reshoot like a lot?
Yeah, because they got
ridiculous.
Ron Howard to direct over who the hell originally was slated to do it and did a bunch of
the guy who like
reshoots.
quit halfway through.
And they blamed it all on that Iden Aldrich or whatever, the guy who played Han Solo, saying he needed to go like back to acting school or something. But I don't think any of that was true. Honestly, his portrayal of Han was not really my main like beef with the movie. I feel like his portrayal was all right. He wasn't trying to be like Harrison Ford, and that's kind of the way you have to approach that role.
I think so.
Because you're not going to be Harrison Ford.
I mean, who can't talk like this? You know, I mean,
Can't talk like this.
not saying I could ever play a Harrison Ford character, but just, you guys ever watch Funhouse?
Funhouse. No, I don't
They
think so.
have?
Okay, well they did an Indiana Jones and the Tomb of the or the Emperor's Tomb or whatever. It's a really old like LucasArts Indiana Jones game. It's really bad, but they did a gameplay of it, and they're doing like they're doing like their Harrison Ford impressions. Like for some reason they're just like, I don't know why they have so many girls in Star Wars now. It's just
Back my family.
Melissa Flockhart is lighter than my dog, or something like that. I don't know. That's his wife, by the way, in case you didn't know, or his ex-wife, I think. I don't know. I don't follow celebrity like marriages at all, so I don't know if they're still together.
Yeah, I don't either. Really, the only people I care about who are marginally famous are just like
Or
baseball players from my team.
I even said her name wrong. It's Callista Flockhart, not Melissa Flockhart. My bad. But anyways, well, seeing as how we're talking about Harrison Ford and his marital status, let's move on to another talking point, I guess. I don't know if this one's a joke or not, but Batu Rem?
Batu Rem?
The
real one or the assassin?
Is that Batu Rem?
Oh, Rem shouldn't even be here. He's he's on leave.
He's not even supposed to be on this station.
Rem's no
Better than
assassin.
him.
The real Batu Rem? Now Mandalorian can match my skills. Alright, well, I don't know why I wrote that down. I think I was just memeing. Alright, here's a real one.
That was the real thing. Huh?
Here's a real one. EU Comics. So you're talking about a little bit earlier. So, what are you guys' I guess we'll just go around the table. We'll start with Vatred and go clockwise, I guess. What are you guys' favorite, or we might not all have the same. I'll just call your name. What are you guys' favorite, comics? EU comics. Or
Well,
I guess
EU
I guess Disney comics too, or whatever, if you like those more.
Well, I have an opinion on both because I've read a lot of the Disney comics, and I feel like they're really underrated, and more people should get into that reading. The main Star Wars series and the Vader comics, I feel, are very good.
I've heard the
And I
Vader
would say
comics are really good.
Those are my two favorite to read right now. The only
What do you think about
little
bleeding
criticism
crystals?
I have about what?
Sorry to interrupt.
Bleeding crystals?
Bleeding crystals. What do you think about those?
I mean, I could take it or leave it. I mean, synthetic crystals didn't exactly appease my appetite either for how you get red lightsabers, so they could take what they will with that, honestly.
Fair enough.
And in terms of Legends comics, I'll give you two because I know somebody else is probably going to say the KOTOR series. But on top of that, I also really liked the.
Can we just say no one? Can we just say no one can say the KOTOR series?
Mark. Sure.
Proof.
But I'm going to say the Jabi mark out of Republic Comics.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh,
That's probably the best. That's
yeah.
probably the best. That's probably peak Republic Comics right there.
And then for I guess
Yes.
my favorite memeable Legends comic, it would be the Kiadi Mundi sidelines where he has like 8 fucking wives because the Syrian race is endangered.
'Cause, yeah,
and
my
you're just
God.
like, well, you gotta keep the race
Fucking-
intact. The male birth rate's like 130.
That's so stupid.
It was. And that was the first Republic comic I read. They were lucky I continued after that.
I've got another good meme comic, but I'll go last. What about you, Thor?
Well, as you know, I've only read the KOTOR comics, so that's pretty much all I can.
Oh,
comment
you've
on.
only read the. Oh well, I guess you could take the KOTOR comics then. I thought you read more than that. You said you read the
But
comics.
No, I've literally only read the KOTOR comics.
All right, guys. I hate to interject, but good news. My game just got canceled, so I'm here for however long.
Nice, nice.
Ba-da-da-da-ba-da.
This is with the
Oh yeah.
Let me go get a drink.
Yes,
real quick.
but hell no.
Yeah, May the 4th.
I'm off tomorrow, and I get to watch.
Presuming that you've all
So it's a
read the
win-win.
KOTOR comics, then
Yes.
what did
Same.
you all make of Del and Dob Momo?
The those are the Ithorian bounty hunters,
The
right?
Ithorian bounty.
They were great,
I wanted to give them. I wanted to give them a
Brothers?
I wanted to give them a cameo in the mod.
bro. Do
Yes.
it. Hell yeah. I'll even voice one. Of them.
Yeah.
I'll voice one of them.
Make
Gave them
make
a
uh,
cameo
Momo,
in
you
my,
idiot.
in like Old Republic D&D. The
I was
Jedi
thinking
party
of-
was captured. They were stuck in prison on Nar Shaddaa. They were like, okay, well, we're just gonna break everybody out, try to cause distraction. I'm like, one of these cells just has 2 Ithorians in it. Let them out. They're like, sure, whatever. All right, cool. They're speaking a broken common. You don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, those guys were
You know,
great.
Just picking up random hunks of debris and smacking guards to death with them.
There was him, and then there was
You know the scene.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know the scene where Deadeye Duncan drops his blaster.
Mhm.
I was thinking of basically ripping that off and making a little joke scene with him somewhere, just as a little cameo.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Their quality.
You could do it and expand a galaxy for KOTOR 2. Just make him wanting to collect the bounty on Jedi.
fucking love
Yeah.
their
It would work perfectly.
their ship too, where like it has 2 cockpits and they need both of them to agree for 30 seconds on a direction.
I don't remember that, but that's hilarious.
I don't
So
either.
good.
I clearly have to reread them.
Yeah.
Quality.
I think the last time I read them was when I was preparing for my Star Wars RPG from a couple years ago that I was running.
Nice.
Which, yeah, I didn't include them, but I had a whole arc that was on Arcania after the whole
Nice.
the whole debacle that was there with the like super weapon or whatever during the comics, where Malik and Karth were fighting like side by side, but they didn't know who each other were. But it was like cool Jedi Knight Malik who actually had a personality before turning to the dark side.
Right.
Oh yeah.
McCall, or no, it's not McCall. What was his name?
Squint.
Alec.
Beforehand.
It was Squint.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
Alec,
Alec is his real name. Squint was his like nickname. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's from the
Well, yeah, because he had some like ridiculously long last name because
Yeah.
of wherever he was from.
yeah. So his home village is named Squinkar Jesimus. Don't ask me how I remembered it. But yeah, his full name is
Deep in the lore.
his name is Alec of Squinkar Jesimus. So
Jesus Lord.
so he renames himself to Squint, and then at one point when the Revankists, which is like Revan's faction fighting the Mandalorian Wars, when they go rogue, he changes his name to Malik, and like
Oh.
and then like because it's never clear who Squint actually is.
Right.
until they see him later and he looks different because that was after Demigol caught him and like stretched him out to make him like 7 feet tall, you know. Sorry, I'm going super lore depth here, but
we are real deep right now.
yeah, balls deep in Squint Cargesimus. But yeah, so they see him later when he looks completely different, like after Demigol did all his experiments on him, and he looks a lot more Malik-like at this way. He basically has the appearance of Malik, Jedi Malik in KOTOR, where he's tall and he's bald, right? Because before that, he was just like a normal dude with like a full head of hair. But after the experiments is why he looks weird like that. But anyways, they find him later, and then they're like, oh, Squint, what happened to you? And he's like, I go by Malik now. And that's when you're supposed to go like, oh, you know. It's him! It's him! Oh my god!
Did the thing!
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Stark, what about you?
Favorite Star Wars comics. My number one of all time. Also, everybody's disappeared from my screen. There. Number one all time for the EU is the Sins of the Father arc. Bloodlines for Dark Horse. The one that sets up Jango Fett's backstory and tied in with the Bounty Hunter game.
Deep cut. Like
Holy shit.
That's part of the open
doing
seasons.
Dooku shit.
That's part of the open seasons book, right?
Open seasons. It's not Bloodlines. It's Open Seasons and Sins of the Father are
Yeah.
the two arcs that involve it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have
Another one.
Open Seasons. That's probably one of my favorite Star Wars comics. I was gonna say that if you didn't say it. Actually,
It's so goddamn
yeah,
good.
Open Seasons is so good.
It has
Yeah, go ahead.
45-year-old Dooku leaving the Jedi Order right after he fucking
oh yeah.
starts dealing with the CIS. It has him looking for the perfect warrior template to start up the project, and just the way it's written is absolutely beautiful. Like he kidnaps this Mandalorian. The first half of the arc told from the perspective of this captured and tortured Mandalorian being scissored open by droids, and all these truth serum injections. Like, this is what happened. This is what happened to my clan. This is what Jango did. I'm going to tell you about this one great warrior. Back half is Jango showing up after the guys, died in the process of the torture. Like, so, you said you had another job offer for whoever could finish this. I'm going to poison both of our drinks while we're talking about this. And we're just gonna have discussion. We have like 6 minutes before we both die. I have the antidote. We're gonna talk about it. It's so fucking good.
Oh, when he's talking with
Dooku.
Dooku, yeah,
Yeah, at the very end, where
Yeah.
Dooku does the, oh no, I've been poisoned. And he's like, okay, well, yeah, actually the whole time I was just like forcing the poison out of my body, and it was no big deal. But now that you told me everything, hey, do you want like 100 million credits? It's such a good exchange between the two of them. They just act exactly how you want them to act. Like Jango is there, the plan to kill everybody in the room at any given second. Knows that he has a plan to kill him, and they're both masterminds of the moment. It's an absolutely great read, and I can't recommend it enough to anybody that, especially if you enjoy the whole Mandalorian horror piece, or if you've played Star Wars Bounty Hunter, you actually unlock first arc of it.
yeah. I was gonna say, didn't they have like a webcomic in Bounty Hunter?
You unlock.
I guess not a webcomic, but yeah,
collecting
you know what I
the
mean.
bounties
An
in
e-comic.
Bounty Hunter,
Oh,
you
yeah.
unlock the first trade worth of issues, and you get to read it as you progress the story. You build Jango Fett's backstory as you 100% the game, pretty much. It's not the whole comic, and it's missing a couple. It goes into why he hates first antagonist, Montross. His betrayal of their fellow Mandalorian clan.
Actually, I was gonna.
It really builds it up.
Hold
so
that thought
well.
there, because I'm going to
It's such a
expand
good
more.
game,
I'm
such
going to
a good
expand more
comic.
on Montross, because I'm going to talk about the comic that came before the one you're talking about. I think.
All right,
Because
man.
that's
It's up
such
to
a
you. Let's go.
that's such a fucking great series. I like, so basically, So I think the one you were talking about was Sins of the Father. So I'm going to talk about
Sins of the Father and Open Seasons.
I'm going to talk about Open Seasons because Open Seasons is that's the one that really that like you see Jango Fett's early childhood. That's where you see like basically he's I don't fucking remember the name of the planet, but Jango Fett is essentially taken, Jango Fett's family is killed by Death Watch, and this is. You could call it the same Death Watch as the Death Watch from Clone Wars, but it's not exactly the same. So, it is still led by Vizsla, but, like, the lore in the background is a little bit different. There's no, like, Darksaber or any weird, like, Jedi Mandalorian backstory or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that on a side note, but I'm not going to dive any deeper.
Yeah, I don't like it, personally, but, anyways... So yes, so basically, as a child, Jango Fett, who is purposely depicted to look almost identical to Boba Fett in Episode 2, right? He's taken and he's trained as a Mandalorian under Jaster Muriel, which is a... If you're really into The Mandalorian, and if you've looked into certain Easter eggs in Mandalorian, yeah, he's actually mentioned...
Detail.
Yeah. He's when Boba Fett shows oh, thank you for the sub, Rev, appreciate it.
My ding ding dong.
May the 4th be with you.
Always.
Sorry.
6% beer says, "Oh my God, you got a Bad Batch ad."
Nice.
Oh hell yeah, yeah! I got one when I first logged in at Twitch today. That's beautiful.
But anyways, sorry, I'm being really long-winded here, but essentially, so Jaster Muriel trains Jango to be a Mandalorian, and this is before the Mandalorians are wiped out. But eventually,
It's Open Seasons.
yes, this is Open Seasons.
Yeah.
Eventually, a fight happens. Like, Death Watch essentially starts a fight with the... Now, I don't remember exactly the timetable, because it's been a hot fucking minute since I've read this, but I remember it's one of my favorite Star Wars comics. But essentially, Death Watch fights Jaster Muriel, and I don't exactly remember what Jaster Muriel's group is called, but they're just kind of like the true Mandalorians, you know? Because Death Watch is supposed to be like really scummy, like basically space pirates. But Death Watch fights the Mandalorians, and then because of Montross, who was a Mandalorian under Jaster Muriel, defecting and joining Death Watch, essentially, he ends up leaving, and Jaster Muriel gets killed by Vizsla. And basically Death Watch becomes at that point, after Jaster Muriel's death, Death Watch becomes the big Mandalorian faction. Very similar to the story in Clone Wars, actually. How Death Watch sort of takes over the Mandalorians. There's also none of that weird bullshit. Mandalorians are pacifists now.
Yeah, that whole thing hit me
History
weird.
will not remember it that way.
Yeah.
Execute him.
But yeah, so Death Watch takes over and they start a bunch of shit. So that eventually gets the Jedi involved, because all of a sudden, there's these Mandalorian pirates all over the place. And the Jedi basically wipe out the Mandalorians. Led by Dooku. Dooku is the Jedi Master leading this sort of crusade against the Mandalorians. And this also leads to a battle. I don't remember the name of the planet of this either. But it leads to a battle between the true Mandalorians, who... I don't remember if Jango Fett is the leader of, or if he's the second in command. I know he was up there at that point. Yeah, I don't think he was the Mandalore at that point, but yeah, there eventually comes this big duel between Dooku and Fett, and Dooku wins, but he spares Fett, but the rest of the Mandalorians are wiped out.
Right.
And basically, Jango Fett just... He becomes a bounty hunter at that point, and he makes it his life's work to hunt down Montross, because Montross is the person who basically caused all of this. He's the one who caused Jaster Muriel's death. He's the one who essentially allowed the Mandalorians to be corrupted to the point where the Jedi had to go and kill all of them. You know?
God, it's so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the same.
It's a
yeah.
three.
It's the same
arc.
It's the same story that Stark was talking about. It's just like the first part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit! I want to say it's called. There's 7 seasons, Sins of the Father, and Bloodlines, and the third one is about like Attack of the Clones.
Well, the third one is
Django
yeah.
dying, and then
Well, I think the third. I don't know if it has Django dying in it.
mantling him pretty much.
Well, I know the third one has.
Unless I'm off.
I know the third one has Django with Zam Wesell like planning the assassination of Padme.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it goes all the way until he dies, but I could be wrong on that.
I want to say like at the end is where's like the last act is him going to Geonosis, and then Boba Fett picking up the helmet is the last panel.
Using
if I remember correctly.
Using the dubstep
Could be, I could
bombs.
totally be wrong.
That does actually sound pretty familiar. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, the KOTOR comics are my favorite though.
KOTOR comics are great.
I mean, Open Seasons is great. All the Jango Fett comics are amazing. The Republic comics are amazing too. I read
giant F in the chat for the illustrator of the KOTOR comics who died 2 or 3 years ago, passed away.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Cool
yeah.
fucking guy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Gone but never
I think he was
forgotten.
an Asian American. I think. Look into it later.
We salute
Cool dude.
we salute our fallen comrade. Well, cool. Okay. I don't know. Anyone else want to talk about any comics that specific? Oh, you know what? I had a meme comic I totally forgot about.
Oh yeah, I wanted to hear this.
Yeah, so there's a Star Wars Insider comic. I don't remember which one it was. You know, so there would be like a funny section at the end of every Star Wars Insider magazine.
Oh yeah, we're getting into the good shit if it's an
Oh
insider.
yeah.
Yeah, they're wacky as fuck. Like I read quite a few of them. There's one that's always stuck with me, and it's where it's a really goofy art style. You know, we're talking like on the level of like Dilbert or like Garfield or like, you know, that kind of art style.
Right on.
Okay.
And it's Greedo's mom taking Han Solo to court for the murder of her son.
What?
And the cases on either side was that Greedo shot first and Han shot first. So Greedo's mom's case was that Han shot first. It was the original take from the theatrical release of New Hope.
Well, we
where
just watched it today. Han was the only one who shoots in the
Right, yeah,
theatrical.
where Han just shoots him dead. Yeah, Han just fucking kills Greedo. Yeah. And that's like the prosecutor's argument. And Han's defense was that no, Greedo shot first. And it shows it has like a cutscene of like Han's perspective, and it shows like Greedo shooting the wall next to Han, you know, like how it goes in the later releases.
Right.
You know, where the guy's holding a gun in Han's face but somehow still misses his face by like a foot.
Thing.
Yeah.
Have here a recording of the defendant saying the words "McClunky" or
McClunky, yeah. You're getting a shout out, Vatred, for your Cardinals hoodie.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Cardinal fans are all over the country. It's the weirdest thing. But
I know
it's
some
easy
Cardinals
being
fan.
a Cardinals fan. Everybody always tells me we're the most hated fan base in baseball, and they're just jealous because they don't make the playoffs 8 out of 10
I don't know,
years.
man. My family are Yankees.
damn
My family are
Yankees?
Yankees
Are you
fans, so
Oh,
like
Yankees fans. That's probably for most baseball fans the only thing worse than a Cardinals fan.
right.
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't care about baseball at all.
Patriots, Cowboys,
Oh no.
like the Alabama Crimson Tide, like the
The
S tier.
Oh,
of
yeah.
shitty
God.
fucking
yeah, I was
fans.
gonna say the Patriots have to be hated more than the Cowboys because the Patriots are actually good. Like, I mean, good, I
This isn't
guess.
a sports podcast,
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Tom
God,
Brady
don't mention
anymore,
sports
so.
to me or I'll fucking
Whatever.
commandeer this thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, if it's not.
The fourth down be with you.
Yeah. So, okay. So basically, so the defense was that yes, Greedo shot first. But like the rebuttal to that defense was that. Get this. How could he have missed at that point blank range? Basically what all the Han shot first people have been
Christ
saying
almighty.
for like 25 years. It's just like that's such a great way to encapsulate that
Clunky.
debate. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
McClunky.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Any last comic thoughts? I guess. Does chat have any comics that they want to give a shout out to? Any good comics?
It's one thing I might say is that the Dark Empire comics,
Damn it.
the worst comics ever printed in the history of time, would rather read the worst fucking Spider-Man crossover Marvel comics that have ever been printed.
Hey, don't you hate on the
I'd
Spider-Verse?
rather read like Pool versus Gwenpool, probably better comics than Dark Empire. Really bad comics, by the way. And that the Shadows of the Empire comics, even though they only exist in boxes of toys,
I was gonna say that's a thing.
they only came if you bought a Shadows of the Empire figure.
Oh, like the Prince Shizor?
1/8 of the little prelude story.
Yeah, okay.
And held that those were also like exclusive
Oh,
to
man.
Toys R Us at the time.
I had one of those. I actually had one of those comics, but it wasn't for Shadows of the Empire. It was what's her name? The chick who trained Darth Krayt. The Dark Woman or whatever. I got an action figure of her.
Fuck.
And that came with a comic about her. Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Dark Lady or the Dark Woman or something. It's something like a very vague,
Yeah,
generic. Yeah.
I have of the Shadows of the Empire ones because I have the Caesar action figure, Chewie as Snoov action figure. I haven't opened.
I remember
That
seeing the
one's not
Shizor
open.
one. I remember seeing the Shizor one like in stores and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I didn't know they made a Shizor action figure.
IG-88,
Did you say Chewie is
The
something? Is he grey?
Peter- Oh yeah, there's a whole scene in the book for Shadows of the Empire. They're like, he's pissed off because they're all getting their disguises, right? You know, like Leia's knocking out Bosch and taking her suit, and Lando's knocking out Tamtel Screech. and
Yeah,
taking
they all
his
have their
suit.
dumb
Then,
fucking disguises.
Like, okay, well, we need somebody for Chewbacca. Like, okay, well, there's only one Wookiee bounty hunter. It's a high top fade, Marines crew cut, and he has like these patches of gray and black in his fur. There's a scene
What?
where he's super fucking
This
pissed
is the figure I
because
was
they're
on about
shaving
earlier.
him
I
and
had
giving
it.
him a mullet,
a Wookiee with
dyeing his fur.
a Wookiee with a
And
crew
he's
cut.
so fucking upset about it. So
Wow.
good.
That's amazing. A
Giving
Wookiee
him
with
the
a crew cut.
Traskolgo haircut. Oh, it's so quality.
Come on, we gotta go and save Han. Except in Shiriwook.
Damn, I'm the Dark Jedi.
Really like the Old Republic. Oh, the Tales of the Jedi comics.
Yeah,
Those are
really good.
those are the ones from the '90s. The Knights of the Old Republic ones were from the early 2000s.
Right. I guess the Tales of the Old Republic were the first ones that let us see before the Rusan Reformation, though. Those are the ones that kind of brought that
Yeah.
retcon in.
I think that was apart from the what's it called? It's the series of books. Is it the X-Wing books? It's one of the very first EU story arcs. It's either X-Wing. It's not.
X-Wing was
Thrawn
early
Trilogy.
90s. That was like 1992.
Yeah, I'm talking about it's when Kip Duron gets possessed by Exar Kun. That's the very first mention of anything that's pre-Rusan Reformation.
Yeah.
It's like X-Wing.
never remember which one
I don't remember if it's X-Wing or no. X-Wing is the one about Corran Horn.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
It has the whole tie-in with in his Emperor's service.
yeah. Oh, You know what's another one? You know what's another series that is really underrated, I think, is Crimson Empire.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys ever read Crimson Empire?
Man, I feel like I read it, but God, this is when I had to have been young, so I don't quite remember it. But that's the one about like the Imperial Guard that
Yes.
does something in terms of like taking control of the Empire in some way, shape, or another.
So-
I can't remember like the exact political drama of it.
Yeah, I don't remember the bad guy's name, but the bad guy essentially tries to take over the Empire once the Emperor dies. And
Right.
he's like the captain of the Imperial Guard. And it actually shows you what the Imperial Guards look like underneath their fucking like curtains that they wear. And they have this like really badass like martial arts armor.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like they look like samurais.
I've actually always loved that design. I think it's a really good one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was always fascinated with the Imperial Guard.
You see him later in Force Unleashed too, when you fight the like Imperial Guards with the saber pikes and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that sucks is if you're an antique toy collector looking for the like, you know, early 80s Emperor's Royal Guard figure, kids fucking took the cloak off. Or they scissored it off. Or
Are you
ripped it off
are you
'cause
on
they
about
wanted to see what was
are
underneath it.
you on about the Royal Guard like Luke?
Yeah,
figure?
yeah, exactly.
I had that.
It's the same thing with the original Boba Fett's. Like, people
Oh,
took
yeah.
the shit off because they're like, what does Boba Fett look like underneath the helmet? Let's find out. I'm going to ruin this.
I could be
Yeah,
well.
this action
toy
figure. Yeah,
now.
because they totally gave a shit about that over at Kenner when they were
Right,
just
right.
cranking him out on an assembly line. Yeah.
I
Cincinnati's
I used to-
finest
I used to
over
have-
there.
yeah.
I
Cincinnati's
used to,
finest.
when I was young, I used to have all the old really expensive British Daleks from Doctor Who. They're
Oh,
worth
God.
like hundreds and hundreds of pounds
Oh, yeah,
now.
yeah.
And when I was young, I decided
right.
it would be fun to get out the hammer and the saw and chop them up.
Yep. Yep.
See, that's why they're
Why would I get
collectibles
those
now.
of
Really
thing?
nice old X-Wings.
That's
I was
what-
like, I'm going to take a lighter and a rock to this, and that'll damage them.
That's why
To
they're.
make them look cooler.
Yeah, I took apart
Exactly.
my like battle action Padme action figure, from episode 2. That was like spring loaded, and I remember when I like finally got it open, it exploded because of the spring inside just went boing. So the
Never
parts
getting that back
the
together.
parts went flying everywhere. Yeah, they probably used some kind of machine to get it
My
together.
most vivid childhood memories, actually, is I had this Jango Fett toy, like right after Attack of the Clones came out. I had this like
Oh, is it the one with the
Sentinel
magnet on
missile
head?
Back. It had yes,
Yeah,
and
I
it
had that
had,
one
like,
too.
A grappling hook
Yep.
on the back instead of a missile. So what I would do as a kid is I would like shoot grappling hook from the back, and then I would just like swing it like a fucking bolus.
Oh yeah.
I had the grappling hook.
Oh yeah. The
throw it
grappling
at
hook.
something and see if I could like hang it in a tree, and he'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah, so there was two because I had both of them.
Ewoks.
There was two Jango Fett. There was two Jango Fetts. There was one with his head that you can like remove magnetically.
Yep,
That was the
I
one
had
with the,
that
that
one.
one was the one with the plug-in flamethrower like effect.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was the one you're talking about that had a removable helmet and a removable jetpack. And he had
Yeah.
the grappling hook that like the string went like back, but it was just like
Yep.
it wasn't connected to anything. It was just like a loose string and stuff. Yeah, I did the exact same thing you're talking about. with
swinging around like a bolus, tried hooking in a tree. And
Man.
one time I was at my grandparents' house in Mobile, Alabama, and I threw it over the fence by accident. I just got like triple the distance
Oh.
I intended on. I spent probably 6 hours looking in their backyard for that fucking Jango Fett, and
Oh.
then never found it again. It's probably still there to this day.
probably got eaten by a gator.
Right, probably. It was Tilt Corner.
Man, those
technically. Yeah,
episode
probably.
those episode 2 action figures, they really like their magnets in there because the episode 1 ones didn't have magnets,
Right.
and neither did the episode 3 ones. The episode 3
Right,
ones
two
had like
figures were
oh, they were
The
great.
episode 2 figures were my least favorite. I really liked the
Oh.
1 and the 3 lines growing up.
The one,
I did not
the
like
ones
the
were
twos.
like the ones were significantly worse, like painted and stuff. Like they were a lot like smoother and stuff. The episode 3 ones were definitely the best quality, and the episode 3 ones had like the removable limbs and stuff for like Anakin and all that. They were like they actually had like good like puzzle piece sort of fitting in, so they'd actually stay on. The fucking episode 2 one. If you're playing with Anakin, right? Like the second anything touches his arm, just poof, it just magnets off. Yeah, because those magnets were not strong.
Like 1 and 3 for pretty much the exact opposite reasons. If you're missing something from episode 1, go get on eBay like right now for $4. They printed the shit of those goddamn action figures. Like, oh yeah, I want Darth Maul or a Droideka. I'm missing this thing out of this set, or it would be cool to have this thing to get signed by the actor or something. You can go get one for like $6 max.
Right.
I love the episode 3 ones because they had the best lines. Do like the episode 2 original Clone Wars years where they had like Yoda on the thing from the intro where he's like,
oh yeah, I had
his lightsaber up, riding around Dantooine. There's a shirtless Kit Fisto.
Oh, you're talking about the old 5 Clone Wars?
Stacy Timm's space armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2003 Clone Wars, and those are all badass.
I don't think I had a single one of those, but I remember seeing them in the store.
Oh, commercially available off the shelf for $20 or less. Toys R Us Star Wars figure. Ever compared to the Revenge of the Sith Star Wars Unleashed ones? They were.
They made like, Star Wars Unleashed for Revenge of the Sith? I thought that was Attack of the Clones.
Oh, because they had a series for Obi-Wan and Anakin. I mean, the duel on Mustafar. They were better quality than the
ones. You're talking about the like playsets.
It's like gripping onto a wall, holding 3 lightsabers. Did Bosk, Count Dooku.
Yeah, they had
did so many high quality ones for Revenge of the Sith, and they were some of the best fucking
the Force Unleashed like statues?
Time available.
Or the Star Wars Unleashed, yeah.
Hey, I mean they weren't like posable or anything, but they were like $12 off the shelf.
Those were cool. I had
production value, high quality plastics, like
I had
4 or 5 of them.
I had the Luke one where he's like swinging his lightsaber, and it's like the energy of the lightsaber is like in a spiral around him. And then I had the Vader one where he's just doing the like Luke, I'm your father scene, but there's no like cool lightsaber effects.
I think I know what you're talking about. I have the Boba Fett one somewhere.
Oh, nice. Yo, mail that to me. I'll trade you some for it. I've got Grievous,
I need to do a show and tell stream because I have a lot of those figures.
I remember not getting those.
I need a mint in box.
I remember not getting those when I was a kid because you couldn't like pose them, and I was like really big about like posable action figures that I could play with.
Right, I think that's why I only have the one.
Yeah, I only have 2.
The Sakura one is really cool too, and it's one of the few actually quality Ayla Sakura figures.
Yeah,
even though you can't like play with it.
I think I had the episode
showcase
3
pieces, but
I think I had the episode 3 Ayla Sakura one, and that one was that was flimsy as fuck.
Nice.
Probably broke. All that soft ass plastic.
They're such quality figures. I need to take pictures of the game room at some point. Share them in various Discords and stuff because I'm kind of proud of it.
That'll be cool. Okay.
Go ahead.
So, I have one more topic for us, but I really gotta take a piss, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab another beer. And then after that, I mean, we could do like freeform, just talk about whatever, or we could just we could do whatever.
I have a couple Q&A questions over on my chat. One, I had to do a little spot research on to see if this rumor was even legit, but I'm prepared to address it now at some point. When we get
also have to piss, but now I'm intrigued.
So, 66% beer, just to give a little opener, says, is it true that zombies will be in Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3? It sounded so outlandish, I had to actually, look it up. Now, a couple of sites have written about this, not ones that I trust by any stretch of the word.
Otaku.
But,
like book resources. IGN.
Yeah, because they're all sites I've never fucking heard of, like Inverse. Now, I've seen CNET Star Wars rumor articles floating around. You've heard of Inverse? But yeah, basically it just talks about a bunch of speculations, like I think the article basically outlined so far, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, and they kind of tie it into some Legends novels like Death Troopers. 2 prisoners aboard the Imperial prison gang purge. Observe the ship's engines break. Luckily, blah, blah, blah. Where do the zombies come into this? Star Wars zombies.
Goddamn.
Okay, so they're saying that it's revealed that this there's some kind of Imperial bioweapon in the new Mandalorian season known as Project 171A, or simply the Blackwing virus, which was developed by the Empire. Oh, really? So this is a Legends thing.
Oh, yeah, it is. There is
developed by the Empire to quell dissidents and freedom fighters.
Are they ripping off Death Troopers?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
There's a couple rumors about the 3rd season of Mandalorian that said maybe, because I got the rumor typed to me in my chat, and I had to do a little spot research because I wanted to see if it was legit. But
I don't know.
There are a couple articles that seem to be making that connection.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's
really
something
trust.
that we're actually alluding to.
I don't really trust Star
That's
Wars.
what I kind of said on the onset, is those 2 sites I don't really trust. I mean, I don't really generally trust a lot of these Star Wars rumors, because you see where, like, fucking clickbait where it's like, oh, the whole plot of whatever new movie's been leaked, and when it comes out, it's not even fucking close.
KOTOR 3 confirmed?
By one person tweeting about it on Twitter.
KOTOR remake confirmed because, Drew Karpyshyn fucking took a dump this morning. Oh.
Drew Karpyshyn sneezed, so now we're getting KOTOR 3.
Half-Life 3 confirmed because there's 3 people in the stream other than me.
Right.
God.
Now, that's a very
the most
not
basic,
very old, but a pretty old.
It's actually a good transition.
Star Wars graphic novel was the Empire found this bioweapon. It was pretty much a zombie virus. Plan was to develop it and unleash it on like dissident planets to make them more like controllable, or to wipe them out. Who gives a shit?
Or to scare the fuck out of all the other planets.
Right. Yeah, we can just do this at a moment's notice. So they had this research lab where they were trying to develop into something more controllable. It breaks out, because of course it does, and it's what if Resident Evil but Star Wars.
Well, like
the scientists and stormtroopers that were guarding the base become zombie monsters.
That actually happened a couple times in Legends, at least. There was
what
that.
What the fuck is it called? It's like Project Darkfall or some shit, I think is what's.
Well, there's Death Troopers, right? I mean, I was just talking about the name of the work, but there's also one of the Empire comics, the old Empire, not the new Empire comics, the old ones.
Novel Death Troopers. That's right.
The Dark Horse. There were some of the Dark Horse Empire comics, and I don't remember which block it was, but it was. Do you guys remember?
And they show up in the new Dr. Aphra comics, even. So they've already been
recanonized.
Okay. Do you remember the Mirror Talisman in the KOTOR comics? The thing that created the rat ghouls?
Yeah. It caused the rat ghoul disease.
Yeah. Well,
right.
You know how he, Zane, I keep forgetting her name, but the Jedi who, entombed herself with the talisman just to keep it inert? I don't remember her name. I don't remember her name at all, but she had a big old braid and tattoos and stuff. She looked really cool. But anyways,
Voss, but a girl.
No. But basically, those are some other cool comics. The Quinlan Voss comics. Oh man.
Oh yeah, there's so much good Quinlan Voss stuff out.
Yeah. That whole lineage, Thulm. I don't know if it's Thulm or Ptolemy. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I've always said Thulm.
I always
Disciple might be one of my favorite books made after the Disney acquisition.
I just got done with Dark Disciple. I loved it.
Oh, what a good book.
But yeah, so Thulm into Quinlan Voss into Aayla Secura, who's Quinlan Voss's Padawan. And yeah, that was cool stuff. And then the fact that her and Kit Fisto totally bump green and blue alien uglies.
Oh yeah,
finishing off and then just doing that smile from the end of it.
No, they straight up it starts off with Aayla Secura being almost drowned, and then Kit Fisto goes in after her, and since he's amphibious, he just goes in after her and he literally sucks the water out of her mouth. He's let me breathe for you.
Breathing for lung water.
Yeah. And then they just and then they hit it off after that, I guess. But, Anyways, what the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah. So that the Rakghoul talisman, the mirror talisman, right? Cannot remember for the life of me what her name was. But there's a comic, one of the Empire comics. Vader and a legion of stormtroopers rediscover her tomb, where she was entombed, and they open it, and she's gone insane by that point because it's been 4,000 years.
Oh god, right. What the fuck is her name?
And
it's killing me.
yeah, and she uses the talisman
Looking it up
on
now.
Vader and the stormtroopers, and it doesn't affect Vader because he's a Force user, but all the stormtroopers start turning into Rakghouls, and it's basically just Vader playing Left 4 Dead on that planet against a bunch of Rakghouls.
Celeste Morn.
Celeste Morn.
Zane Carrick was the one that
Yes.
set her up. Yep.
Celeste
I
Morn.
remembered
That's what it
Zane
is.
being a crucial part of the process, but I couldn't remember
Yeah.
the other girl's name. That's nuts.
Yeah, because the talisman is sealed on...
That was a really good arc, yeah.
It was on
I'll give
Terrace. It wasn't sealed on Terrace, but it was on Terrace for a long time, which is why Rakghouls are all over Terrace.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think they take it off Terrace in the KOTOR comics. That's one of the stories. Because a lot of the KOTOR comics takes place on Terrace.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'll
art
say-
there.
It show up somewhere else.
It very well might have. I don't know.
But
That's the
no,
only-
I
that's
feel
the only
like the
appearance I
Mer
can think of.
talisman was used somewhere else first, and it somehow ended up on Terrace.
Yeah. Well, as Sith Lord, a Sith alchemist, like a Kisai priest, created it,
Right.
named Karnus Mur.
Created by a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it was just a straight up Sith Lord. I thought it was.
dates to before the Golden Age of the Sith.
Oh, so what? It would have been a
At
Kisai.
some time, the talisman was buried in the undercity of Terrace.
It would have
Until
been.
the Mandalorian publisher did an excavation party to retrieve it.
Yeah.
So there's like a 2,000-year gap there where we don't actually know what happened to it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's like truly
Check out
ancient Sith,
Wikipedia.
if it's truly ancient Sith, then it would have been. Yeah, it would have been at least like 1,000 years before, probably more. Because Naga Sadao, the Great Hyperspace War was 1,000 years before Exar Kun. Exar Kun was 40 years before KOTOR. So, yeah.
Minimum of 1,040 years, in which we probably don't know very much about the item itself.
No. I mean, it was...
It's creation, and then it's on Terrace.
I do like
Around
it.
find out.
I do like it though because it basically says that it basically confirms that Rakghouls are Sith alchemy, are products of Sith alchemy, which
Certainly.
makes total sense
Right.
because of how fucking scary they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish that Sith alchemy was kind of explored more in
Okay.
media.
Well, not to get into a can of worms, but my ideal KOTOR 3 that I am asked about a lot in my KOTOR streams would have you going to an ancient Sith, it would have you finding the Sith Empire, right? But it wouldn't be the surgical steel fucking Palpatine's Empire clone that was in SWTOR.
Mass-produced.
It would have
Revan
been-
Empire, right?
It would have been like an actually ancient-looking Sith Empire with sandstone temples and Sith Kisai priests doing these mass fucking rituals, just transforming transforming
Yes,
slaves
absolutely.
into these monstrous beings that they use as enemies, and they don't use lightsabers. That's weird Republic technology. They use fucking enchanted swords and tridents and shit. Make them look like devils.
Holy shit!
How cool would that be?
Loves my D20 campaign.
How cool would that be? That was the original idea of my D20 Star Wars Revised campaign,
yeah.
but they didn't get that far.
That's what I was breaking away from. I was like, okay, so you have a Revan. Who's this? He's got the Star Forge. He has his produced Sith. His mass indoctrinated Republic soldiers that are just now Sith soldiers. Okay, we're getting closer to KOTOR 2. Let's start dealing in with the beat training and the ducks and rituals and whatever they were working on there. Let's do build-ups to that. Let's do this true corruptive black magic of the dark side. Let's
Yeah, no,
So
we're
you-
talking
not go so far as to do voodoo dolls or anything, but
Well, think about it. Think about
get into it.
well, because you see, the pyramids on Yavin 4, they're the Mayan pyramids in real life, but the pyramids on Yavin 4 were considered to be Sith temples. So just imagine a Sith sorcerer standing on top of a pyramid, like generating a force storm with some kind of incantation, right?
Yeah. Decapitating slaves and letting their head roll down the ziggurat stairs and all that.
Right, and then except instead of
exciting.
yeah, they kill the slave, and it's like maybe not like chop it to pieces, but like as the slave's body rolls down the stairs, it arises as like some sort of hell beat, like a torrent attack, right? And then, like, all the slaves, like, kowtow and bow before the torrent attack, and then,
Hey, that's the kind of energy
That's what the ancient Sith were always like to me. Not just surgical steel, fucking, like, just more Empire. More stormtroopers.
Magic, Egyptian lore and aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
These were
Korban is Egyptian as fuck.
Cultures that prove as...
Look up, like...
as the inspirations of this race.
Look up, like, pictures, like, artist renditions of, like, the Mesopotamian, like, the Sumerian city of Ur and Uruk and stuff like that.
Example.
And then you'll see what I like, what I really like.
Right.
What I really think the ancient Sith, like, that would have been such a cool aesthetic. And it would have been something that, like, Star Wars hadn't really done before, except for maybe the Rakata, but, like, the Rakata are, like, basically wiped out, though, so it's just a bunch of empty temples.
Yeah.
We're talking like
I actually like the Rakata. The Star Wars universe.
I do. I like the Rakata.
Ancient aliens again.
It's bit okay. Well, the Rakata are more
so fucking stupid.
It's a bit a long time.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the Rakata are better than most of the other fucking ancient aliens. Like, have you seen like the Gree or the Colony or like any of the other ancient aliens?
Yes and yes and yes.
The Rakata are by far the best ones.
And yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a Rakata guy.
The people who what are they called? It's not the Forebears. That's Halo. It's fucking the Celestials.
Forerunners is Halo.
The Forerunners.
Protheans is Mass Effect. It's kind of.
It's the people who built Centerpoint Station. It's the people who built Centerpoint Station on Corellia. It's like really old. It's a story point.
Yeah, that's not the Gree.
It's not the Gree. No, it's It's literally. I think it's the Celestials. I think it's literally called the Celestials. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Are you an angel?
Nah, they live on the moons of Aego, I think.
Live on the moons of Aego, I think.
Why is this?
You think?
Why is this weird?
Love that some writer spent their entire life, a professional author, writing books and stories to tantalize the masses. Then it's like, hey, here's $20,000. Figure out why he said that. The Phantom Menace.
Oh, you're talking about like the
they
novelization.
Angel.
Okay, well, say what you will about say what you will about crappy Phantom Menace lore. James Luceno has turned that movie around for me because his fucking books.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
His fucking books actually make the Phantom Menace make sense and like in a good way. But
it was a lot of fucking work.